If you drink plenty of water but you're still feeling thirsty all the time, it's time to switch things up. Don't cut out the H2O, but use these liquid alternatives for some extra hydration when you need it. This may surprise you, but milk is one of the most hydrating drinks around. Whether you prefer skim or whole, milk contains a significant water content in general. The fat, lactose, and sodium content all help to balance the fluids in the body. Additionally, the nutrients and water from milk will stick around in your body for longer than plain water, which is filtered out rather quickly. You probably don't see too many people at the gym with a tall glass of whole milk after a strenuous workout, but maybe they should start. However, it's worth noting that milk contains a lot of calories, which can add up if you're drinking 8 glasses a day instead of water. Non-dairy milk like almond or oat varieties are also just as hydrating, if not more so, than water. These alternatives are made by blending the base ingredient with water to turn it into milk, so the body will still absorb all of that water along with any additional nutrients.
We're out of milk.
Are you kidding me?
Another great alternative to water that also nourishes your body with added vitamins and minerals is fruit juice. Juices tend to contain electrolytes, which are compounds like sodium, potassium, and magnesium that keep your bodily fluids balanced and help your cells function properly. In general, replenishing your body with electrolytes can help promote recovery better than water alone. Fruit juice is also loaded with vitamins like vitamin C, which can promote a strong immune system. Additionally, the average orange juice is composed of 90% water, so it's nearly just as hydrating as a glass of plain water alone. Grapefruit and pineapple juice are 2 other great vitamin-packed options to add to your daily diet, especially in the morning as a kickstarter to the day. While fruit juices can be a beneficial addition to your diet to stay hydrated, they should never totally replace your water intake for long periods. Sports drinks are a common hydration replacement for water, as the average brand like Gatorade contains electrolytes and additional carbohydrates to replenish the body after an intense workout. It's why athletes are often featured in advertisements for sports drinks, as they are the target audience after all. However, due to their high sugar content, sports drinks shouldn't totally replace water for most people unless they want to impact their physical health in negative ways, such as tooth enamel erosion. Sports drinks also contain sodium, which helps the body to retain water better, and many feature amino acids that can aid in muscle recovery. In addition to the old standby of Gatorade, Body Armor is another popular sports drink that has the added benefit of containing no artificial sweeteners in its bottled beverages. The brand also has zero sugar light options or edge drinks that contain caffeine. For those who live an active lifestyle, incorporating a sports drink into your diet can absolutely help to keep your body at its optimal level of hydration.
Gatorade not only quenches your thirst better, it tastes better too.
One of the best alternatives for water for staying hydrated on a hot day is coconut water, which is the clear fluid in coconuts that's slightly sweet and nutty. Unlike coconut juice, it typically doesn't contain any puree from the actual fruit. Coconut water is high in a variety of electrolytes, particularly potassium, which can aid in maintaining low blood pressure. Hydration is also an essential aspect in preventing kidney stones, and the electrolytes in coconut water help the body's filtration process function even better. Vita Coco is a well-known brand that you can find at the average grocery store that can work as a fun swap for water. Vita Coco offers an original variety, which is pure coconut, as well as pineapple and peach mango flavors to make it even tastier to do something good for your body. Sparkling water is just water fizzed up with carbon dioxide, and it's just as hydrating as the still version. It might be more beneficial to some people than regular water, as the fun flavors will encourage them to consume more throughout the day. Your body will still ingest the water just the same, whether or not it has a bit of gas in it. Researchers even believe that the carbon dioxide dissipates once it hits those gases in your stomach, so it's all just water to your digestive system anyway. It may not be better for a workout or for people with gastrointestinal issues, though, as the carbon dioxide can cause bloating. Nixie is one of the newer options on the market that's organic and offers flavor mashups like watermelon mint and strawberry hibiscus. And there's also Sanzo, which offers bubbly water in Asian-inspired flavors like yuzu and calamansi. Just as with fruit juice, the juice pressed from fresh vegetables can provide a double whammy of hydration and vitamins. Pressed juice is the best option, as it helps to retain all of the nutrients in each vegetable while also offering all of that water content. Also, like fruit, each vegetable contains a varying amount of water. Some of the most water-dense vegetables are celery, cucumber, leafy greens, and bell peppers, which can also help keep your body hydrated when eaten fresh. If you have a juicer at home, you're in great shape, but you can also pick up something from a juice bar to feel energized for the remainder of the day. V8 is one of the most well-known vegetable juices on the market. Famously, each 8-ounce can contains 2 servings of vegetables like beets, carrots, tomatoes, spinach, and more. V8 has gone on to expand its line of flavors, including both fruit and vegetable juices, and the drinks are a great option for anyone looking to stay healthy and hydrated.
Wow, I could have had a V8.
Aloe vera juice isn't the most popular drink around, but this underrated beverage can provide plenty of health benefits that include keeping you hydrated. Aloe vera juice is either made from the green outer leaf or by mixing aloe vera gel with water or citrus juice for added flavor. Aloe vera offers plenty of antioxidants as well as antimicrobial properties. Some people believe that it can also help promote a healthy digestive system and clear skin, though the studies aren't clear-cut. There's also a laxative effect that's been tied to aloe vera juice when it's made out of the green outer part of the plant. It's important to note that in large amounts, the version made with the outer leaf can be unsafe. However, the mainstream bottled versions contain just trace amounts that provide a safe mix of vitamins and minerals when enjoyed in moderation. Bone broth isn't the miracle health cure that some people may tout it as, but this trendy ingredient does offer plenty of health benefits. It's made out of claws, knuckles, tendons, and bones from different animals to make a rich soup. Soup made with stock from bones has long been associated with healing, and bone broth can also help to replenish your electrolytes. Bone broth is also a naturally hydrating liquid with the added benefit of sodium, which is key for hydration retention. It doesn't matter if the broth is made from the bones of chicken, pork, beef, or fish. In any case, the nutrients that seep out into the broth are undoubtedly a boost to your health. So, swapping out 1 glass of water per day for bone broth could very well help your body better absorb all of the water and electrolytes that you consume throughout the day. The main marketing tactic for electrolyte drink powder mixes is hydration. Whether it's after a hot day in the sun or too much alcohol, brands like Pedialyte and Liquid IV boast added electrolytes to help your body better absorb the water it's mixed into. Pedialyte is the old school option, available in liquid bottles and drink mixes. It's full of nutrients, and it's even recommended to help keep babies hydrated.
That's mine.
I'll buy you a pony.
Advanced hydration isn't just for kids.
Pedialyte flavors are pretty typical, like berry or orange, so Liquid IV is for those with a more sophisticated palate. Both brands boast similar benefits of electrolytes and vitamins, but Liquid IV offers them in flavors like pina colada and sea berry. The list of brands making variations of electrolyte drink mixes is quite extensive, and all of them can be an appropriate way to replenish your body when water alone isn't cutting it. Additionally, they can be useful when you drink them before a long day of exercise or consuming alcohol to prevent dehydration in the first place. Kombucha is another buzzy health drink that gets a lot of praise, and it can also help you keep your daily fluid intake on par while boasting digestive health benefits. Kombucha is a fermented tea, usually made with a brew of sugar, black or green tea, and SCOBY, which is the bacteria and yeast culture that adds all of those important probiotics. This powerful drink can help support a healthy immune system as well as gut health when you drink it along with water. It's also a great option if you want to drink something a little fancier than water and you want something healthier than a sugary soda or an alcoholic cocktail. There are plenty of popular kombucha brands on the market. Health-Ade is one bottled option with a flavor for nearly every palate. KeVita also has an extensive line of gut-boosting drinks, from bubbly kombucha to vinegar tonics. For those who prefer something without the funky fermentation, there are also probiotic soda options like Culture Pop that provide similar benefits but are a bit more flavorful than plain water. The key here is to drink plenty of water with your kombucha. It is a diuretic after all, so if you just drink kombucha all day, you risk dehydrating yourself, and that defeats the purpose altogether. Plenty of non-alcoholic canned drinks combine flavor with function, and the base is often significantly composed of water. A prime example is Hi-Yo, a functional tonic that markets itself as better than alcohol. The brand utilizes a unique list of ingredients, including nootropics, botanicals, and adaptogens, to help boost your mood and make you feel calm without the buzz of alcohol. Gia is another popular non-alcoholic brand with aperitif cocktails that can keep you hydrated while tricking yourself into thinking that you're drinking booze. Some studies even show that non-alcoholic beer is a suitable swap for water when it comes to hydration. Non-alcoholic beer typically contains sodium and potassium, so it can be even quicker to hydrate your body than regular water after exercise. It might sound crazy, but it's not the worst idea in the world to chug a non-alcoholic beer before a workout to stay hydrated. Plenty of mainstream beer brands sell non-alcoholic versions of their brews that can provide the same great flavor as the originals, just with more hydrating qualities.
When it comes to hydration, not all sports drinks are created equal. So which has the vitamins and electrolytes your body needs after an intense workout? Here's our ranking, from worst to best. One of the most popular sports drinks on the market, this neon-coloured beverage claims to quench thirst and improve hydration after a sweat sesh. We all know what to expect from Powerade, and that's a sugary punch that will stain our lips and tongue. The thing is, sweet and colourful Powerade may taste good, but it's not likely to provide better quality hydration than water alone. This is according to an investigation into the sports drink industry by the British Medical Journal. The investigation points out that the sports drink industry, including major players like Powerade, sponsors scientists who make impartial claims about dehydration. Ultimately, unless you're working out strenuously and seriously need to replenish electrolytes, Powerade has little more to offer than a candy-like flavour. Like Powerade, Gatorade is a sweet sports drink with artificial neon hues that can stain your skin. However, in its investigation of the sports drink industry, the British Medical Journal has also called into question Gatorade's effectiveness for improving hydration. Those questions go much further back, though.
Gatorade Thirst Quencher gives your body what it's thirsty for.
A University of Florida study from 1990 divided a high school football team into two groups and had each group run 40-yard sprints. Between sprints, one group drank Gatorade, while the other drank sweetened and coloured water. The study found no difference in performance between the two groups. Once again, the mixture of sugar and electrolytes found in Gatorade might help people who are engaged in high-endurance activities, but it's not likely to be any better for you than water on the hydration front. If you've ever drank a vitamin water with the thought that it was a health drink, we hate to be the bearer of bad news. Unfortunately, this lightly flavoured drink is high in sugar, with 26 grams of added sugars in a bottle of their Revive Fruit Punch flavour. For comparison, one serving of Gatorade's Fruit Punch Thirst Quencher clocks in at 21 grams of added sugars. We think the flavour of vitamin water is, well, watered down and a little sad. If you're going to consume the sugary beverage, you may as well enjoy the flavour. As for hydrating powers, vitamin water is 99.5% water, crystalline fructose, and sugar. In that other 0.5%, you'll find some vitamins and electrolytes, but hardly enough to make an impact. A relative newcomer on the market, V8 Hydrate is an electrolyte drink made from plant juices and no added sugars. The drink is mostly composed of vegetable juices, with a hit of natural flavourings, purees and stevia. The drinks are isotonic, meaning they have the same salt and sugar concentrations as cells and blood. Here's the thing, nutrition-wise, these might be a solid choice. They offer some electrolytes and nutrients without a sugar crash. The problem lies in the taste. There's a large consensus of people that say they just don't taste very good. Here's one reviewer on Amazon's take. These were terrible. They even make me sick to my stomach, which never happens to me. Bai Flavoured Water is an antioxidant-infused drink with caffeine, making it a bit of a hydration drink and energy drink hybrid.
Bai. It's wonder water.
In it, you'll find a blend of white tea, polyphenols, and coffee fruit extract. It's also free from added sugars. While you will find solid hits of vitamin C and other antioxidants, Bai Flavoured Water doesn't contain a high electrolyte content. Caffeine scientist Danielle Robertson-Wraith says in a blog post centered on the flavoured water, Bai is a phenomenal healthy option, acceptable for those concerned about sugar content and artificial ingredients. Overall, Bai flavoured water can be a decent hydration option. We just don't think their watered-down flavour holds up to other offerings on this list. Bolt 24 is an electrolyte drink offered by Gatorade. The drink is lower in calories than classic Gatorade, sweetened with cane sugar and stevia. It sources its natural electrolytes from watermelon and sea salt. Plus, it boasts 100% of your daily value of vitamins A and C. It's caffeinated to boot, with 75 milligrams of caffeine per serving. If that seems like a lot, that's because it is. Bolt 24 is trying to accomplish quite a bit in one little bottle of sweet electrolyte beverage. It's as if they took the pros of classic Gatorade and really took things up a notch. Nevertheless, it's still a decent option. Body Armor is a sports drink line with a variety of flavors, like strawberry banana, orange mango, and pineapple coconut. These drinks are coconut water based, so they feature lots of potassium, along with antioxidants like vitamin C and vitamin A. While they don't use any artificial sweeteners in their drinks, they are relatively high in added sugar, with 21 grams of pure cane sugar in a bottle of their strawberry banana flavor. So if you're cool with the higher sugar content, Body Armor drinks are pretty tasty. If you're a millennial, you might remember chugging down those intensely sweet, fruit-flavored bottles of Propel water with a packed lunch at school. Well, Propel no longer offers those nutritionally questionable flavored waters that were sweetened with tons of added sugar. Now, all of the flavored water lineup is zero sugar, sweetened instead with sucralose. The waters are enhanced with electrolytes like potassium, along with nutrients like vitamins C, E, B6, niacin, and pantothenic acid. Since making the switch, Propel waters have become arguably a much more sound source of electrolytes and vitamins. If we're talking about hydration drinks, we'd be remiss not to mention the OG rehydration treatment, Pedialyte. The classic, unflavoured Pedialyte replenishes lost fluids when you're sick, along with zinc and electrolytes to prevent dehydration.
Advanced hydration isn't just for kids. Pedialyte helps you hydrate during recovery.
Pedialyte is made by combining water, dextrose, electrolytes like salt and potassium, and zinc for immune support. If you're sick, this oral solution will rehydrate you better than any juice or sports drink. It's also suitable for real cases of dehydration from strenuous exercise, heat exhaustion, or travel. While sports drinks have reigned over the hydration beverage market for years, there's a new trend that's taking hold: powdered electrolytes. First up on our ranking is the Ultima Replenisher Electrolyte Hydration Powder. This powder comes in a variety of flavors and includes 6 electrolytes: calcium, chloride, magnesium, phosphorus, potassium, and salt. You'll also find support minerals, fruit flavor extracts, plant-based colors, and stevia. This means there's no sugar, carbs, or calories, making Ultima powders a great choice for diabetics or people otherwise looking to avoid sugar. Hydrant is another popular electrolyte powder company and offers a range of hydration powders to be mixed into water. The mixes are lightly flavored with real fruit juice powder and contain just 4 grams of sugar per stick. That sugar comes in the form of powdered fruit juice and a small amount of cane sugar. They're also loaded up with electrolytes like salt, magnesium, and potassium, along with zinc for improved immunity. We think the drink mixes from Hydrant are a tasty way to get some additional electrolytes on a hot day or after exercising. Electrolyte-enhanced hydration and sports drinks are great, but one of the best ways to hydrate your body is to drink plenty of water. If you're looking to elevate your water drinking experience, you could try Essentia water. This bottled water is ionized alkaline water, meaning it has a pH higher than 7.0. Essentia water tastes clean and smooth, making for an amazingly refreshing experience. Essentia also infuses their water with trace amounts of electrolytes, which actually enhances the taste of the water, while ionization removes bitter-tasting acidic ions. The Noon Sport electrolyte drink tablets are just one of the many offerings in the Noon tablet lineup. These tablets are a blend of electrolytes, citric acid, dextrose, stevia, natural flavors, and a few other ingredients. They contain just 1 gram of sugar per tablet, along with 15 calories. To make your drink, you'll simply pop a tablet in a 16-ounce glass of water and allow it to dissolve. Noon pushes that these tablets are specially formulated for post-exercise or sports use. While writing in The Strategist, Karen Adelson noted that her pantry is never without them. She went on to add, "Another advantage of Noon is that it just tastes really good. I remember first trying it out and being impressed by how sweet it was not." There's another hydration beverage we haven't accounted for: coconut water. One of the leaders in the coconut water market is Vita Coco. In their original carton, you'll find coconut water enhanced with a touch of vitamin C and less than 1% sugar. The flavor is fresh, tropical, and gently sweet. If you like coconut water, you'll probably like Vita Coco. We think it's great when you need a refreshing hydration boost, but it's also one of the few options on the list that mixes great in nutrient-packed, rehydrating smoothies if you're so inclined.
Let Vita Coco do the heavy lifting for you.
Perhaps the most popular of all the hydration powdered mixes, Liquid IV Hydration Multiplier, can now be found in big box retailers all over the country. We love the vibrant flavors of Liquid IV Hydration Multiplier, which delivers a sweet hit without overwhelming the palate like a classic sports drink might. It does contain 11 grams of sugar per packet, placing it somewhere in the middle of sugar content compared to other offerings on this list. We've also found that Liquid IV Hydration Multiplier really helps soothe any dehydration effects, like a headache or dizziness on a super hot day or after a sweat sesh. Harmless Harvest coconut water has a cult-like status for its distinctly fresh coconut flavor. Unlike any other bottled coconut water on the market, the next best thing might just be to crack open a fresh coconut yourself. So what sets them apart? Harmless Harvest sources their coconut water from young Thai Nam Hum coconuts. Known for their fresh and fragrant flavor, the water is microfiltered, meaning it's never thermally pasteurized to lose its freshness. When it comes to coconut water, Harmless Harvest is widely hailed as the best tasting bottled option available. Vibrantly packaged and flavored, raw organic drinks combine vitamins, antioxidants, and electrolytes to help you keep hydrated. However, raw organic drinks aren't quite a sports drink, nor are they a flavored water. They're coconut water based, so they deliver those natural electrolytes from potassium and magnesium. They're also packed with vitamin C and boast a solid nutritional profile, with only 20 calories and no more than 3 grams of sugar per bottle. We love their vibrant flavor and colorful packaging, which makes the whole hydrating experience fun. They're gently sweet and pleasant, but won't hurt your teeth with sugary flavor or stain your lips.
Grab a roar and say, "Sayonara, Snooze Fest. Good morning hydration."
Our number one hydration drink is Numa Organic Electrolyte Sports Drink. This sports drink carton is groundbreaking for a number of reasons. It's nutritionally sound with a coconut water base, only 30 calories per carton, and 0 grams of added sugar. It's gluten-free, dairy-free, and suitable for a variety of diets. Plus, the drink's packaging is sustainable and better for the environment. Most importantly, it tastes amazing. Numa comes in several unique flavors, including blueberry peach and chocolate mint. In a review of Numa on Spoon University, Lily Baker highlights the chocolate mint flavor in particular, writing, "Normally, I am not a fan of coconut water-based drinks. However, the subtle hint of coconut that came through in the drink made it come off as a creamy, delicious drink. The creamy coconut flavor mixed with the warm hints of mint and chocolate made it taste like I was drinking a milkshake. Rehydrating with a milkshake-flavored drink that's actually good for you. You can't beat that."
Is some bottled water worth screwing over an entire island? Fiji Water's business practices might not be as pure as its product. All businesses have a responsibility to pay their taxes, but for quite some time, that rule didn't exactly apply to Fiji Water, as it claimed tax-exempt status from the very first drop of water tapped for production. The company evaded tariffs of any kind from Fiji's government on the grounds that the bottled water business was an industry that didn't leave much room for failure. That argument ended up sticking for an entire decade. This was far longer than what the initial agreement called for, as the exemption was supposed to end altogether by 2008. Eventually, the company's tax-free status ended when the Fijian government imposed new regulations on bottled water companies in 2010, though there was some resistance. In total, Fiji Water paid 764,000 Fiji dollars, or roughly 431,000 American dollars in water taxes. Companies trademarking a symbol or phrase makes sense in a lot of cases. Just consider the iconic Nike swoosh and the slogan, "Just do it." But trademarking the name of an entire country? That takes some nerve. Fiji Water apparently isn't afraid of testing the limits of intellectual property, as it's actually trademarked the word Fiji, although only the stylized, capitalized version that's printed on the bottle. Furthermore, there's also a patent for the design of the distinctive square bottle. A big corporation lording over the little guys is nothing new. But Fiji Water has taken it to some new extremes. Because of their registered trademark, Fijian citizens have become entangled in legal troubles for printing the word on bottled water that they've produced themselves. Mohammed Altaf, the owner of Aqua Pacific Water, is one such individual who experienced legal pushback after including Fiji in his brand name. As he told Mother Jones in 2009, it's just like branding a water, America Water, and denying anyone else the right to use the name America. Fiji Water propelled the island nation to international stardom upon making its way across the globe in the late 1990s. Subsequently, that led to mineral water becoming the country's top export, a distinction it's held comfortably ever since.
Nah, son, get the Fiji. Evian is gross.
Prior to the rise of bottled H2O, Fiji's biggest industry was sugar, which encountered a massive boost in the mid-20th century with the government-run Fiji Sugar Corporation, as well as special trade deals with the European Union. Factors like new pricing regulations and emerging industries have impacted sugar's long-term success. Fiji Water then quickly became a crucial part of the country's economy, considering that the company reportedly reaps $43 million in revenue every year. It isn't shocking to discover that it forms the economic backbone of an entire country. Fiji Water's founder is David Gilmour, a Canadian business tycoon who's worn many hats over the course of his career in the tourism sphere. Some of his most notable pursuits are reportedly in the fields of real estate and gold mining, and the bottled water business wasn't his first rodeo with the Republic of Fiji. In fact, his relationship with the South Pacific Island goes back decades and involves the field that he seems to thrive in the most, the hospitality industry. Before Fiji Water was tapped from volcanic rock below the earth, Gilmour established a chain of hotels in the late 1960s called the Southern Pacific Hotel Corporation. He launched the venture with his business partner Peter Monk and garnered generous funding from investors to bring the resort to life, including powerful elites like Saudi princes. The enterprise enjoyed prominence in the region, including a particularly extravagant location within Fiji itself. His investments in Fiji aren't just limited to the business world, as he also actually owns an entire private island on Fiji called Wakaya. Celebrities endorse a variety of products, and you can certainly include fancy bottled water on the list of things that the rich and famous love. Fiji Water's prestige image simply wouldn't be the same without the enthusiasm of A-list followers, which includes famous faces from TV, movies, music, and politics. Oprah Winfrey, Justin Timberlake, Nicole Kidman, and Barack Obama are all among those who have been spotted sipping from this particular square bottle.
Can I get some water?
One star who's exceptionally infatuated with this tropical import is Mary J. Blige. A tour rider of hers from 2006 that was obtained by the Smoking Gun shows exactly how dedicated the singer is when it comes to obtaining her favorite beverages. For starters, she specifically requested Fiji Water over the bottomless selection of bottled water brands. Under the extensive list of demands for her dressing room was a request for 12 large bottles, 1.5 liters of water that could only be Fiji. Everyone needs to hydrate after all, especially in-demand singers like Mary J. Blige, who need to keep their vocal cords in working condition before the big show. Have you ever noticed how Fiji Water doesn't seem to do much advertising? It might seem strange that such a sizable global brand wouldn't embrace the high-energy marketing that capitalism typically demands, but that's because there's a different strategy at play here. Part of Fiji Water's upscale reputation comes from opting for product placement in lieu of traditional advertising. Fiji has been featured in a variety of movies and TV shows, finding its way onto sets and award shows thanks to David Gilmour's close industry ties. Famous Fiji cameos include TV shows like Friends and Ballers, and movies like The Hangover. And we of course can't forget the Fiji Water girl at the 2019 Golden Globes. David Gilmour reportedly didn't want to sink a ton of cash into mainstream ads, although in recent years, the brand has produced a limited amount of more traditional commercials. It's undeniable that bypassing traditional methods makes Fiji more exclusive and thus more covetable. Seeing a famous fashion designer taking a swig of it on the red carpet is probably more effective than a random advertisement tucked inside a newspaper, and it's proved to be a winning strategy for maintaining the brand's intrigue.
Duh, winning.
Bottled water has become a hot-button issue among environmentalists, and the concern is well-founded. Manufacturing Fiji water uses up a ton of resources, whether it's the electricity powering its bottling plant or the mountains of plastic shipped all the way from China to make its packaging. Fossil fuel emissions are a far cry from the Garden of Eden-esque image that the brand proudly promotes. Just consider that it reportedly takes 1.75 gallons of water for the production, export, and distribution of one bottle of Fiji water. Multiply that by 1 million, which is the average batch transported out of its factory on a daily basis, and you've got yourself a very large carbon footprint. Fiji has promised to commit to sustainability, including using recycled plastic for its bottles, but it's unclear how much of a difference that will ultimately make. With a reported $43 million made every year, Fiji Water is a prosperous business. But raking in the dough doesn't necessarily translate to spreading that wealth to others. The majority of Fijian people simply don't enjoy the spoils brought in by Fiji Water. Around 12% of the total population reportedly lacks a reliable source to clean drinking water. Furthermore, crumbling infrastructure in the form of eroded drain pipes has led to public health crisis, including lethal typhoid outbreaks. Fiji Water likes to highlight its investment in local communities to demonstrate that it gives back. The Fiji Water Foundation, for example, provides funding for eligible schools across the island in the form of teaching grants for classroom necessities.
We are working together with the people to protect this area for the benefit of current and future generations.
The company also employs many Fijians and brings money to the country's economy. Nevertheless, Fiji Water's business model is predicted on exporting a natural resource that the Fijian people need in order to survive. Paying virtually no taxes for the first decade plus of its existence was a boon for Fiji Water's growth. But that era eventually came to an end in 2011 when the Fijian government issued a new rule on bottled water businesses. Under the revised water extraction tax, companies would be charged 15 cents for each liter of water if their monthly output exceeded 3.5 million liters. Fiji Water was only paying 1/3 of a cent at the time and found itself the only corporation standing to be charged that amount. Outraged by this decision, Fiji decided to shut down its factory in protest and laid off all the employees in the process, threatening to pull out of the country altogether. The standoff only lasted a day, and the workers got their jobs back. But these strong-arm tactics have left a sour taste that no fancy bottled water can wash away. Companies that portray an eco-friendly image without delivering on substantial promises are committing what's referred to as greenwashing. Fiji Water has been criticized for this practice to the point that it's even faced legal trouble for it. In 2011, a California woman sued the company for falsely perpetuating the claim that its products were carbon negative, when reality showed otherwise. The issue reportedly originated from Fiji's 2007 pledge to reduce carbon emissions by 120% through an extensive conservation program that included planting trees across 2,000 acres of the South Pacific region.
I'm trying to save the planet here.
The problem was that Fiji Water wasn't actually carbon negative. Instead, it was allegedly utilizing future numbers in a system known as forward crediting, as their goals wouldn't actually be met until the year 2037 at the soonest. Essentially, Fiji was prematurely claiming credit for an outcome that hadn't yet occurred and marketing its water to reflect that, thereby manipulating consumers' trust to sell a higher-priced product. The company's current sustainability page does not mention its past carbon negative promise. Cleveland, Ohio has been the butt of jokes for seemingly the entirety of its existence. Its drab architecture and lackluster athletics have granted it a particularly unfortunate nickname, the Mistake by the Lake. Fiji Water attempted a similar burn in 2006 when it ran a series of print ads punching down on the city and its water supply. The ads featured the offending tagline, "The label says Fiji because it's not bottled in Cleveland." Understandably, Cleveland wasn't very amused by this full-page mockery, which Fiji attempted to brush off as just a joke. But what happened afterwards is where it gets interesting. City officials actually ran a test on Fiji water to see whether the ad held up to scrutiny. The verdict was that it wasn't as pure as Fiji would have preferred. High levels of arsenic, 6.31 micrograms per liter to be exact, were found in the square bottle, which was more than other water brands and even the tap water flowing from the city of Cleveland itself. German composer Hans Zimmer has set the tone for several Hollywood blockbusters, including Dune and Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy. Along the way, he's earned countless honors from the likes of the Oscars and the Grammys. If you've sat down to watch a movie in the last 10 years, you've almost certainly heard his pulsing, dramatic music in the background at some point. When Fiji Water got into the TV marketing game, they booked the famed composer in 2021 for a series of commercials called It's Not Just Water. The idea behind the campaign was to show exactly how Fiji water is made through each of the elements responsible for it: cloud, rain, rock, and aquifer. Zimmer created 4 15-second snippets of sound for the project, and the grandiosity of the topic matches the composer's equally serious approach to channeling it with authenticity. He emphasized purity in a press release. As he declared, "In building the music to represent this journey from scratch, I wanted it to be impressionistic, closer to my feeling of nature, my feeling of what purity is all about."
I take you on a journey. The water takes you on a journey.
If Fiji is looking for some big budget attention, then nabbing one of cinematic music's all-time greats is certainly the way to do it.
If you're the type that can't help sneaking into the kitchen at night and snacking on a few pickles, we have great news for you. That juice, it's actually really good for you. Keep watching for why you should take a long gulp of that pickled-flavored goodness. Green juice made with nutrient-dense spinach, kale, cucumbers, or celery is all the rage. But pickle juice is another green juice that requires no juicing that you should be drinking every day. Of course, just the thought of pickle juice can make a mouth pucker. While most people toss the juice and the jar once the pickles are gone, you might want to reconsider. Athletes have been drinking pickle juice since before it was hip, using the liquid to help combat leg cramps. Today, it's gone mainstream, and you can find pickle juice in just about everything. You can also drink pickle juice in various proprietary blends of sports drinks on supermarket shelves. It's clear that pickle juice is here to stay, and researchers and consumers alike are putting the question to the test. What happens to your body when you drink pickle juice every day? Pickle juice is a pretty simple drink. It's made with 3 ingredients: cucumbers, water, and salt. Cucumbers contain a natural probiotic that lives on the cucumber skin and aids in the fermentation process. The pickles you buy at the store are made just a little differently. Manufacturers generally remove this bacteria and replace it with vinegar, creating what is commonly called pickle juice. That said, pickle juice is a green goddess of a drink. When consumed on a regular basis, pickle juice is touted for helping to boost your immune system, aiding in digestion, and combating muscle cramps. It's also known to help with rehydrating after exercising, control blood sugar, relieve period cramps, help with weight loss, serve as a cure for the common hangover after a night out with friends, and even sweeten and combat bad breath. It's worth noting that some of these claims still require scientific research to back their validity. Potential imbibers of pickle juice should also be aware that they'll ingest a lot of sodium. There's a good chance you'll find it's worth it. Drinking pickle juice after a strenuous workout has long been a natural remedy to guard against muscle cramps, as well as other aches and pains. It's no wonder we all crave pickles.
Unable to control their cravings, have evolved and created tools to get at the pickles.
According to a study published in Medicine and Science and Sports and Exercise in 2010, pickle juice works better than water to relieve debilitating muscle cramps. The pickle juice helps restore the electrolyte imbalance from dehydration and can do so 45% quicker than drinking no liquid. Speaking of dehydration, have you ever wondered why women crave pickles when they're pregnant? Turns out it probably has something to do with experiencing morning sickness and not being hydrated. Our bodies crave this salty beverage because we need to restore lost electrolytes. That's why pickle juice is becoming a go-to drink for the masses, as well as hardcore athletes in their efforts to rehydrate and recover. While more research is needed, Stacy Goldberg, a nutrition consultant who has worked for the Cleveland Cavaliers and Detroit Pistons, told Sports Illustrated in 2019 that just because there isn't a lot of research yet, that doesn't imply that it's not super effective.
Of course, sports drinks aren't the only beverages that include pickle juice. There are plenty of cocktails that incorporate the salty mix. Martinis, Bloody Marys, and picklebacks all use a little brine. It's worth noting that pickle juice can also be a godsend when you're on the other side of drinking and nursing the once-in-a-blue-moon hangover. In fact, according to the Recipes Project, Russians have been using pickle juice to help combat the effects of drinking too much alcohol for centuries. They may not have understood the science behind their hangover remedy, but they certainly knew that it made them feel better, thanks to the hydrating capabilities from the brine's rich electrolytes. No matter how you enjoy it, pickle juice does have health benefits, as long as you can stand the salty taste.
Bottled water is a convenience most people are guilty of using, but you should absolutely stop. It's got some far-reaching consequences, ranging from environmental to financial. The bad definitely outweighs the good on this one. Spending $1 on a bottle of water might not seem like a huge investment, and chances are good you already know you're paying for the convenience. Maybe you forgot your own water bottle at home, or you headed out on an unplanned hike through the park. But what happens when you start really looking at the numbers? When the ConvergeX group started comparing the cost of bottled water to tap water, they looked at averages across the country and found people were spending around 300 times more on bottled water than they would have spent on the same amount of tap water. Oh, and that was based on the price of water by the gallon. How often do you buy bottled water by the gallon? When they looked at the 16.9-ounce bottles, which make up about 2/3 of the market sales, the math says you're paying around $7.50 for a gallon. That's almost 2,000 times the price of the same amount of water that comes out of your tap, and way more than that gallon of gas you're always complaining about the price of.
It's been called the marketing trick of the century. Would you agree with that?
Well, in a way, yes, because it could come out of your tap.
It might be more cost-effective to drive home and pick up a reusable water bottle to fill yourself. You've probably heard bottled water is incredibly wasteful, and most people think this refers to the bottles themselves. But have you ever asked yourself about the water use? When you pick up a liter of bottled water at the store, how much water do you think went into making it? It's more than you think. According to the International Bottled Water Association and a 2013 survey that looked at the water use of the industry, it takes an average of 1.39 liters to make a single liter of bottled water. That extra 0.39 liters might not sound like a whole lot, but it adds up fast. Given that the entire market study included data from the manufacturer of 14.5 million liters, that's 5.66 million liters of wasted water used in final production. The IBWA points out their total water usage is less than other parts of the beverage industry. But two wrongs don't make a right, and some environmental groups aren't convinced the numbers are anywhere near acceptable. A spokesperson for the Water Footprint Network says the industry's impact is even farther reaching than that. And when you include the water that goes into making the packaging materials and bottles, you're looking at more like 7 or 8 times that number. Plastic has a lifespan that's thought to be around 500 years long, and that means the plastic in every bottle you've ever crumpled up and thrown into the garbage or recycling bin still exists, and they're piling up. In 2008, volunteers who participated in Keep America Beautiful's Great American Cleanup picked up a shocking 189 million plastic water bottles that had been discarded across the country. And considering around 200 billion water bottles have been manufactured every year since then, it's starting to look a little ridiculous. Plastic also makes up a huge part of what's called the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, a massive area of the ocean between the US and Japan where the world's garbage gets caught in a sort of ocean-wide vortex. Since plastic doesn't dissolve, all those plastic water bottles that don't make it into the garbage or recycling bins end up in places like this, worn down into smaller and smaller pieces. No one's sure just how much plastic is there, but there are places where the water is little more than a cloudy soup. Some measurements have found as much as 1.9 million pieces and bits of plastic in a single square mile. Since only about 10% of the world's PET plastic actually ends up being recycled, this is a problem of epic proportions. If you're still insisting bottled water is worth the cost, consider the fact that you might just be drinking regular old tap water out of that fancy bottle anyway. In 2007, Pepsi made a startling announcement. They were changing their labels to be more transparent about where their bottled water came from because their Aquafina was nothing more or less than tap water. If you happened to read an Aquafina label before that, you would have seen Bottled at the Source, PWS. That's a fancy way of saying it's bottled at a public water source. It's poor labeling and shady marketing at best. Pepsi isn't alone here. Coca-Cola's Dasani is also essentially tap water. It comes from a public water source, as do some of Nestle's bottled water products. If it's natural spring water or well water you think you're getting when you open that bottle, you might find you've been mistaken. Figuring out whether or not bottled water is actually a safer option than tap water is a bit tricky, and there are a whole bunch of variables. If you're living in an area that has a contaminated water supply, then bottled water is the way to go. Otherwise, studies are still out on the matter, and most seem to suggest opting for bottled water isn't really doing you any favors. According to the Mayo Clinic, bottled water and tap water are pretty much governed by similar safety standards. While the FDA regulates the production of bottled water, the EPA oversees the country's tap water supply, and the two agencies go pretty much hand in hand with what they allow in water. The FDA considered bottled water to be something of a low-risk food, but bottling plants still need to be licensed every year. Even though they're monitored, they're not held to standards that are any different from the guidelines the EPA uses to monitor drinking water. And recently, new dangers have been found. A 2018 study found the overwhelming majority of bottled water brands come with something unexpected in the bottle: tiny particles of plastic, some bottles with hundreds of pieces per liter. A series of investigations revealed some pretty shady things about those companies doing all the actual bottling. In 2015, California newspapers did some digging into Nestle, who had been bottling their Arrowhead water from the resources of the San Bernardino National Forests for years. They found not only is there no governing body keeping track of just how much water they're taking out of the forest, but there's no one looking into the possibility that they're taking so much water it's having a negative impact on the surrounding flora and fauna. While Nestle says they're not doing anything wrong and they're abiding by the guidelines that have worked fine for decades, park officials say with ongoing drought conditions, more needs to be done to make sure there are no long-lasting impacts from Nestle's activities. Forest Service employees have expressed a growing concern that the unchecked and unmonitored activities could have a negative impact that starts with the forest's vegetation and spirals outward from there. One species of native fish has already disappeared from forest streams, and it's an extinction linked to flash floods, forest fires, and possibly to the disappearance of some of the area's natural water supply. Sporadic drought conditions have been happening a lot, especially in the American West. The government has monitored drought conditions since 2000, and the longest single span of drought in California lasted a shocking 376 weeks, from December 2011 to March 2019. That's led to massive attempts at conserving water and fines for wasting it on what were deemed non-essential projects like watering the lawn. But one thing that didn't stop was the bottled water production of California-based companies, and suddenly, all that wasted water takes on a whole new meaning, doesn't it?
The Cyclops will drown you in your overwatered lawns.
At the same time other companies were laboring under water restrictions, the dozens of bottled water companies escaped scrutiny. What do they have to say about it? A spokesman from Southern California's Essentia, which uses tap water, told CNBC, "I don't see any situation going forward that would stop us from producing bottled water." In 2009, researchers from the Pacific Institute estimated just how much energy it took to make the disposable plastic bottles used in the bottled water industry. They included everything from making the plastic and shaping it into bottles, to filling the bottles, transporting the finished product, and keeping it cold. Their findings were pretty disturbing. A single liter of bottled water took between 5.6 and 10.2 million joules of energy. That's as much as 2,000 times the amount of energy it takes to produce the same amount of water that comes out of your tap. We'll put it another way. Around the time that information was released, the national consumption of bottled water was around 32 billion liters, and that took the equivalent of between 32 and 54 million barrels of oil to produce. Fast forward a bit, and according to The Guardian, consumers were buying these bottles at a rate of 20,000 per second in 2017, a demand largely centered around bottled water. Around 480 billion plastic bottles were sold in 2016, and that was an increase of 300 billion from when the energy consumption survey was done. Have we learned nothing? There have been attempts at making bottled water that's better for the planet. In 2016, the New York Times reported on Just Water, a company that made their completely recyclable bottles out of paper sourced from trees certified by the Forest Stewardship Council. They're still only 53% paper though. The rest of the bottle is mostly plastic, with small amounts of aluminum. They're not the only ones doing it either. A company called Boxed Water is Better is also hopping on the bandwagon of making greener alternatives. So are they really greener? It's complicated. While these boxed waters are more environmentally friendly than those that are using plastics, they're still horribly wasteful when compared to the water that comes out of the tap in your own kitchen. They still take raw materials, lots of energy, and they're still single-use containers. Except in emergency situations and in places like Flint, Michigan, the majority of Americans have constant access to fresh, clean water right in their own kitchens. There's no reason to put it in a single-use container, whether that's plastic or paper. We've all done it. You've finished off the bottle of water you picked up on your way to work, and you might as well reuse that bottle, right? Fill it at the water cooler before lunch and again before you head home? Actually, you shouldn't. And no, this isn't about toxic chemicals. All those rumors you've heard about the presence of chemicals that leach into your water from the plastic just aren't true. The plastic approved for use in water bottles is perfectly safe for you to drink out of, but if you refill it, that might not be the case anymore. And that's because that plastic water bottle is the perfect place for bacteria and fungi to not just grow, but thrive. Once they're opened, they're also introduced to all kinds of bacteria that come from your hands, your mouth, that water cooler. You get the idea. Since they're not made to be used more than once, they're also susceptible to forming hairline cracks. And those cracks are also going to be a breeding ground for bacteria you won't be able to get rid of, no matter how thoroughly you clean it. Reusable water bottles, on the other hand, are made from materials that are easier to clean completely. So just get one of those and do your part to keep our planet green.
God bless you, Recyclops, and your cold robot heart.
Can drinking too much water kill you faster than dehydration? Is there an actual formula you can use to determine the perfect amount of water your body needs? We have the answers. After a tough workout or spending all day in the sun, nothing quenches your thirst like a cold glass of water. Sure, fruit juices or sports drinks can hit the spot too, but nothing can really compare to taking a big sip of just pure H2O.
That is so good.
According to Healthline, hydration isn't the only reason we should regularly drink water. Others include flushing out waste, balancing our body temperature, and helping our brain to function properly. If that's not reason enough to enjoy some plain old water, it can also help you to lose weight and fight off illnesses. However, despite all these positives, it's possible to have too much of a good thing. Overhydrating can cause water intoxication, which causes a disturbance in how your brain is able to function, according to Medical News Today. Signs that you've ingested too much water include nausea, confusion, or vomiting. It can also become life-threatening because too much hydration can cause your cells to swell, which in turn can cause the brain to expand in size and press up against the skull. In worst-case scenarios, this can lead to brain impairment or breathing trouble, according to WebMD. Thankfully, there is an easy system to follow to make sure you're getting just the right amount of water. Founder and head nutrition coach of Fuel Your Fitness, Georgette Neighbor, told the Food Network that getting the ideal volume of water is very important when it comes to performing at the top of your game. In order to ensure you're drinking the right amount, she said, take your body weight, divide it by 2, then add 15. That's how many ounces of water you should be drinking per day, plus another 17 to 20 ounces for every hour of exercise. The personal trainer also suggests having a recovery shake after a hard workout. She explained, during high-intensity training, our cortisol rises, which is our fight-or-flight hormone. Having a carb immediately post-workout actually shuts off that response and puts your body in a position in which it can start recovering. Sounds like the perfect method to feel great after your next long run or weight training session. As we've mentioned, water isn't the only beverage that contains, well, water. All liquids do, and therefore should hydrate to some extent, at least in theory. However, not all beverages are necessarily going to be your best bet for rehydration. The Cleveland Clinic suggests that fruit juices, which tend to be high carb and low sodium, may cause some intestinal distress if you consume them when parched. While this institution also warns against rehydrating with caffeine due to its diuretic properties, some research suggests that iced coffee and tea really don't make you pee much more than water, so they actually can count toward your daily fluid intake. Booze, however, is still a no-no for hydration purposes. As a liquid, it taketh far more than it giveth, since your body actively tries to flush it out of your system using any other liquids you've got in the tank. What this means is, if you want to kick back with a beer after a hike, a workout, or other strenuous physical activity, you're advised to stick to a non-alcoholic brew, or at least to have no more than 2 low ABV beers. And if you do decide to knock back a few, you should probably offset with some supplemental water. Since we've gone over the perils of overhydrating or drinking the wrong types of liquid, it's about time we talk about the obvious flip side of the coin. Dehydration, a great danger that any one of us can face in a wide variety of circumstances, is something that can prove fatal within just a matter of days.
Told you ain't got no agua.
Of course, the kind of dehydration that ends in death occurs when you've had no fluids at all enter your body, so just being down a glass or two on your daily intake won't have such dire consequences. Even slight dehydration, though, won't help you look and feel your best. If you're chronically dry, you could end up constipated. Plus, you may experience muscle aches or itchy, flaky skin. Mentally, you won't be at your best either, as you're likely to be tired and could even have some brain fog. If you're really not great at keeping track of such things as water intake, one way to see if you may be dehydrated is to check out the color of your pee. If it comes out dark, this could be an indication that your fluid levels are low, so you should probably grab a non-alcoholic beverage ASAP.
Sports drinks? Who needs them? Gatorade? More like Laterade. There's a new post-exercise drink in town, and it's a heck of a lot more fun than the rest. Like a stint in the gym or any other kind of intense physical activity, going for a hike is thirsty work. This means that once you're done, you're going to need to rehydrate ASAP. Some hikers will go minimalist with water, while others opt for an energy drink like Gatorade or even milk. If you're in the camp that equates post-hike downtime with Miller time, though, it turns out you're not too far off base.
To alcohol, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems.
Sure, beer may not be exactly a superfood in its own right, but it does have some health benefits. As Brad Schoenfeld, PhD, writes in Men's Health, beer has carbohydrates and some sodium where water does not, which could be beneficial post-exercise. Beer also supplies some carbohydrates and can help replace depleted blood glycogen levels to a certain extent, which is also a concern after a long day on the trail. Another nutrient found in beer is silicon, a substance that is found in the human body that is necessary for maintaining strong bones and joints. Yet one more beer benefit is that the hops and malt provide polyphenols, which can help fight off any infections you might encounter along the trail. Even though you could certainly do worse than a post-hike or workout beer, there's no reason to start drinking the stuff if you're not already a fan, nor to use this as an excuse to go overboard if you are.
You're drunk.
I assure you I'm not, officer. Honestly, I've only had a few ales.
For one thing, you're advised to drink 1 or at most 2 beers, and preferably to consume them in addition to food. While it's possible that beer can give you the sensation of a full belly, it does not supply all of the necessary nutrients your body requires after a strenuous hike. Alcohol consumption could also negatively impact hormone levels and muscle development. What's more, you should really only be drinking light beers, meaning ones with an ABV of 4% or less. Booze, after all, is not much of a performance enhancer, and it's especially important not to overdo it when you're on the hiking trail, where overindulgence can result in any number of safety hazards. The alcohol in beer can also wind up dehydrating more than rehydrating once you have more than a few, so you'll also need to supplement your beer consumption with water or another non-alcoholic beverage. If you choose non-alcoholic beer, though, go ahead and indulge to your heart's content, as it provides many of the same nutritional benefits without the detrimental effects of its more spirited counterpart. If you really want that post-hike beer but need to maximize the rehydration benefits, there are now certain beers that seem to have been brewed with fitness in mind. These beers contain additional nutrients such as potassium and sodium that are meant to help balance out your body's electrolytes. But are these electrolyte-enhanced beers really better for your body than non-alcoholic post-workout drinks? Well, the added sodium actually does seem to help, as well as the fact that such beers are often quite low in alcohol, around 2% to 3% ABV. One study published in the International Journal of Sport, Nutrition, and Exercise Metabolism called such beers a potential compromise that would offer the drinker an opportunity to kick back with a beer without suffering the dehydration of a high-octane brew. But what do you do if beer's not your cup of, well, beer? While NYU exercise physiologist supervisor Heather Milton tells Wine Spectator that a glass of vino is not entirely out of the question, she does suggest that you only imbibe after you've rehydrated with water or a sports drink. This is because wine can slow the rate at which your muscles recuperate from a workout. If you prefer something a bit harder, some studies have shown that there may not be much of a link between alcohol consumption and decreased physical performance a day or two later. Even this data, however, cannot be interpreted to assign any particularly positive benefits to booze. What's more, researcher and lecturer Matthew Barnes tells Vice that he feels alcohol does have a detrimental effect on the immune system. He adds that it will likely stymie muscle recovery if consumed as a regular post-exercise thirst quencher.
From what to put in it, to how to slice what you put in it, to how long to leave it all in, infusing water can be a complicated process, but we're here to clear up your concerns.
Sergeant Pepper, cue the fruits!
The kinds of fruits, veggies, and herbs you use to infuse water will greatly affect your results if you aren't acutely aware of the infusion time for each. Softer fruits like mango, cucumber, and watermelon require less time because of their porous nature. Harder fruit, as you might expect, would take more time, sometimes upwards of 12 to 18 hours or more. Still, other kinds of fruit, such as lemons, lime, and strong citrus fruits, may require even less time, about 2 to 3 hours, given their already potent taste. In fact, just slipping a lemon or lime wedge into your drink can infuse the water with a strong citrus flavor in a matter of minutes. Because of this, it's important that you watch how long you infuse fruits and veggies in order to avoid under-infusing or over-infusing your water. As a rule of thumb, only strive to infuse water for a few hours or overnight, especially for the softer or citrusy fruits we discussed. You may need to do a taste test along the way to ensure you're getting the results you need. Just be sure not to continue to infuse water for more than 24 hours. Unconventional as it may sound, vegetables like celery and herbs like basil have the uncanny ability to infuse both fruity and fresh detox drinks with their own captivating depth of flavor. When infusing, feel free to mix and match your flavors to create wonderfully imaginative creations of your own. Herbs like lavender and basil tend to meld very well with lemon, while celery, lemon, mint, and cucumber can yield a concoction so refreshing, it'll leave you wondering why you hadn't tried it sooner.
You don't think vegetables can be tasty, huh?
It might sound a bit weird to infuse veggies, but the flavor payoff is well worth it, and the extraordinary richness and intricate interplay of tastes are unparalleled. Using dry or frozen fruit may seem like a convenient, cheaper, and effortless option for infusing water. However, the two aren't actually ideal for producing the best flavored water results possible from home. Instead, try using fresh fruit when you can. Frozen fruit tends to impart less flavor to your water compared to fresh fruit. This is likely because of the water released upon thawing. Not only does frozen fruit render a less flavor-infused batch, but it will also leave your water saturated with tiny bits of fruit floating about, making the water appear murky and unsightly. As for dried fruit, we recommend you avoid it at all costs. It simply does not render the same results as fresh fruit, though you may get subtle hints of flavor in your water here and there depending on the type of dried fruit you use. Ultimately, the best pick for infused water is fresh fruit. It releases the most potent amount of flavor to the water without releasing as many bits and pieces as frozen fruit. Water temperature is extremely important when infusing. The warmer the water you use, the faster you'll impart flavor to your water. But this isn't the only factor to consider. Using hot water may work to decompose the fruit, herbs, or veggies, and may sometimes even obliterate certain nutrients that are sensitive to heat. Though the flavor of your drink will be strong using warm or hot water, it may not be as advantageous if you want something that'll benefit your body to the max. Making your water cold or keeping it in the fridge is advised. However, keep in mind that the infusion process will be much slower. Still, this is a useful way to keep those much-desired nutrients intact, while also keeping your water safe to drink for as long as possible. Try to keep room temperature steep times to a minimum with no more than 4 hours on the countertop before transferring and keeping the water in the fridge in order to keep it safe to drink. Keeping the rind on your citrus fruit may result in an altered infusion flavor, and the results aren't pretty. You may be accustomed to throwing a lemon or lime slice in your water, but doing so for infusion purposes may lead to a bitter end. This is mostly because the rind has a flavor all its own, which usually isn't so pleasant when used for infusion purposes. Instead, try peeling the rind from your citrus fruits before submerging them into water. Fruits like oranges, limes, lemons, and grapefruits are all examples of fruits whose rinds you'll want to remove before infusing. Once the rind is removed, take the flesh of the fruit and infuse it into the water. You'll still want to check the water for taste within a few hours as mentioned before. Since citrus fruit tends to have a stronger flavor, the results should yield a bright and refreshing sip without a hint of bitterness in sight. Once your water has fully infused, it's important that you remove the fruit from the water. By keeping your fruit in the water for too long, you encourage more bacterial growth as the fruit begins to decompose. Not only could this yield a threat to your health, but it can also affect the way your water tastes over time. In addition, your freshly infused water will suffer aesthetically if you choose to leave your fruit pieces in after infusing. As the fruit starts to break down, it will leave tiny bits of whatever ingredients you've used floating within the drink. This will be worse if you use frozen fruit, but can happen with fresh fruit too, especially softer ones. If you want to decorate your water with a bit of those ingredients, simply chop up some fresh fruit, veggies, and herbs and toss them in before serving. It'll look prettier, and the awesome part is that your water will still taste great.
This drink, I like it.
I know, it's great, right?
Another!
In general, slicing fruit and veggies before placing them in water can be an awesome way to get the most bang for your buck in terms of flavor. The exposing of the flesh, which contains most of that juicy flavor, can help impart tasty deliciousness easier to your water than a whole fruit would. It also makes it easier to fit bigger fruits in your pitcher or water bottle. There are times, however, when this isn't necessary. When using certain berries, for example, you may not need to slice the fruit to achieve full flavor. Some berries tend to be exceedingly tiny anyway, so chopping them beforehand will only lead to mess and stress. A good example of berries not to chop include blueberries and raspberries. Strawberries, on the other hand, may benefit from slicing before placing them in water for infusion. All other fruits should be sliced or chopped for maximum infusion of flavors. Although infusion water bottles may come across as helpful and sport a cool appearance, they are, in all honesty, entirely unnecessary. You really only need a single pitcher to whip up a quick batch of infused water. Once infused, you just need to put it into a regular water bottle and you're good to go. What happens if you're on the go and don't have time to wait for the infusion process? Well, that's a great point. It overlooks the fact that the water infusion process is time sensitive. So if you add fruit to your water and start sipping an hour later, the flavor won't be as strong as it would have been had you let it sit in a pitcher overnight. Likewise, if you let your fruit sit in your water bottle for longer than need be, you'll end up with an unbearably strong drink, especially if you used citrus fruits. Because of this, we highly discourage you from using infusion water bottles. It isn't as effective as you might think and may even lead to over or under-flavored water, depending on how long you wait before you sip it.
By the way, we had that water brought in special for you folks.
The type of water you choose to use for the infusion process is fairly important in regard to how your water will taste in the end. As you might imagine, using water that is already bitter, peculiar, or oddly tasting will have a negative effect on your infused water, hindering its potential for pure refreshment. By imparting unwanted flavor, your water may not turn out as hoped, and you'll have ended up wasting your fresh fruit, veggies, and herbs on something you may not like in the first place. Instead, try using distilled or filtered water before starting the infusion process. These waters tend to be cleaner and fresher tasting, providing an excellent base that allows your infused fruit, herbs, and veggies to shine. Tap water and well water can sometimes impart icky flavors to your water that may prevent you from clearly tasting the nuances of the ingredients you chose. If you don't have distilled or filtered water, spring water may also work, although you'll need to already be accustomed to the flavor of spring water, as its natural minerals can sometimes give it a distinct taste of its own. Now, this one might be a bit controversial among those who really want to minimize waste, but honestly, reusing the same fruit for different batches can lead to weaker water infusion. While it's totally fine and even admirable if you would rather reuse the same fruits, veggies, and herbs for multiple batches, it may not be in your best interest, especially if you are going for longer steeping times. When you reuse the fruit, veggies, and herbs for your infused beverage, you're ultimately not going to get a potent result the second and third time around. As the first steeping process ensues, you're essentially extracting all the flavor and goodness out of your ingredients right from the very start. This is especially true of softer, more porous fruits and veggies, especially if you steep them for a long time. Using the same ingredients, although more economical, will produce only a hint of flavor rather than a full-on infusion. So it's often best to simply start with a new batch of fresh fruit, herbs, and veggies for each infusion for ultimate tasty results. Although we've told you that you should remove fruit from water infusions within 24 hours of starting the steeping process, this doesn't mean the fruit has to go to waste. Though you probably shouldn't continue to use it for infusing, your very best choice is to go right ahead and eat the fruit as is. You can pop the fruit in your mouth and go about your day. Rest assured, there's absolutely nothing harmful about indulging in fruit infused in water, as long as you've faithfully followed our time recommendations for infusing in the first place. Alternatively, feel free to throw your leftover fruit into a blender with a banana and yogurt for a delicious-tasting smoothie, or use it to blend with milk to yield the perfect fruit-flavored liquid for cooking up a pot of fresh morning oatmeal. No matter how you use it, just know that your fruit used for water infusion definitely doesn't need to go into the trash. As long as it only steeps for 24 hours or less, you're totally safe to eat and enjoy. Just be sure to watch out for potential seeds or fruit pits. Now, with all this talk of yummy water-infusing flavor combos, you should know that certain types of fruit and veggies may work better for infusion than others. Of course, this doesn't mean that you absolutely shouldn't use certain fruits and veggies. What it does mean, however, is that you should adjust your expectations along with steep times if you choose to use certain veggies and fruits. For example, infusing apples, peaches, and certain berries may take a while. In fact, even after steeping for 12 to 18 hours or more, you still may only be left with a hint of flavor in your water, rather than the powerful essence of fruit other types may yield. On the other hand, flavors like lemon, lime, orange, and mint tend to quickly yield strong essences that taste wonderfully robust, refreshing, and delightful to the tongue. Ultimately, which ingredients you use is up to you, but you'll certainly get varying results depending on what you choose.
For coffee and soda lovers, staying hydrated can be a tough pill to swallow. Luckily, we have plenty of hydration hacks that will quench your thirst. You've likely heard that coffee can be dehydrating. This is because it contains large amounts of caffeine. While caffeine is energizing and addictive, it's also a diuretic, which causes liquids to pass through your system more quickly. So, if you're a big coffee drinker, it can make it harder to stay hydrated throughout the day. One option that allows you to still enjoy a morning brew but decrease the amount of caffeine you're taking in is to switch to tea. Most teas still have caffeine, however, the amount is not as high as what's found in coffee. You could also avoid caffeine entirely by switching to herbal teas. Herbal teas are made of 98% water, so drinking tea in the morning in place of coffee can be a great start to your day and replenish your fluids. Because herbal teas have no caffeine, you can also enjoy them throughout the day and at night without worrying about them keeping you awake. If you want something more cooling and refreshing, try switching to iced tea instead of iced coffee. Iced tea is a favorite choice for many to keep cool in hotter weather, and it can also be a good option for hydration. Unless you drink decaffeinated iced tea, you'll still get some caffeine, but it's a better option than standard coffee and will help keep you hydrated. You've likely heard that sports drinks are good for replenishing electrolytes after a workout. If you're wondering what electrolytes are, the Cleveland Clinic explains them as a group of minerals in your blood that helps regulate the fluids in your body. The three main electrolytes you'll hear about are sodium, potassium, and magnesium. These minerals are lost quickly during exercise and sweating. This loss of electrolytes can lead to dehydration. After losing electrolytes, you can get them back into your system by adding electrolyte tablets to a regular glass of water or having a sports drink. Speaking to the Cleveland Clinic, registered dietitian Kate Patton shared her advice on when to reach for an electrolyte drink. According to her, you should remember that you'll only need a sports drink or another electrolyte drink option after heavy sweating or intense exercise. It can also be a good idea to replenish fluids after you've been sick. Next, make sure to read the label. Check that the drink actually contains electrolytes and that there aren't a lot of added sugars or other less desirable ingredients.
I don't need it.
We We all know drinking lots of water is important, especially if you're active or outside in the sun. So why not make getting all the water you need as easy and enjoyable as possible? One of the simplest ways to do this is by keeping a large water bottle on hand. This is especially important if you're hiking, playing a sport, or doing some kind of manual labor, but it is also good to think about during leisure activities, while running errands, or even while in the office or at home. If you find yourself having a difficult time drinking water, you may want to invest in a good water bottle. A high-quality, insulated water bottle will keep your drink cold throughout the day so that drinking is a more pleasant experience and you'll want to sip more often. Although insulated bottles are a bit pricier, they're worth the investment if it means you'll stay cool and hydrated. If you're in the market for the best water bottle, Hydro Flask, Yeti, and Clean Canteen are all good options. If you're struggling to drink enough water throughout the day, why not make your water more flavorful? A classic way to do this is by adding a lemon wedge to your water glass and squeezing in the juice to enjoy lemon water. However, you can get a lot more creative than that and try a variety of fruit infusions to make a refreshing, flavorful, hydrating drink.
There's a cucumber in my water. Do they know it's there?
To take a typical drinking water to the next level, all you have to do is pick out flavorful fruits and herbs that you want to add to your water. Fill a large water bottle or pitcher with your choice of fruit, any other infusion ingredients, and ice cubes. Then pour regular water over the top. Let the fruity water sit in the fridge overnight or for up to 12 hours. The water will slowly soak up flavor from the fruit juices to make a delicious beverage. You can strain out the fruit before drinking to avoid any chunks. This is an easy and creative way to make your water fun and get you drinking more. Some great options for infusing are strawberries, honeydew, blood oranges, blackberries, cranberries, blueberries, kiwi, cucumber, mint, ginger, and rosemary. Feel free to create different combinations and experiment with your favorite flavor blends. Not only can drinking iced water be more pleasant and make you more likely to drink more, but it's also been found to help you stay hydrated longer. Even if you're consuming the same amount of liquid, drinking iced water instead of room temperature water may keep your body hydrated longer. Certified nutritionist Brian Bender explained to Eat This, Not That why drinking iced water is important for athletes or anyone working up a sweat this summer. Bender said, "Studies have shown that cold beverages improve thermoregulation better during activity in hot environments. Sweating is reduced as a response, and therefore your hydration status is improved by lowering water and electrolyte loss." While ice water may help you keep hydration levels up during activity, it hasn't been found to have as significant of an impact on rehydrating the body. In fact, a 2013 study on the subject found that cool tap water is best for rehydrating after a workout. This conclusion was reached after studying participants who drank water at different temperatures. Regardless of temperature, the real key is to ensure you're drinking enough water. Whatever temperature you enjoy and are more likely to drink water is the best choice for you. If you have a hard time motivating yourself to drink enough water but enjoy other kinds of drinks, you can make a more pleasant experience by having 2 drink options. Rather than forcing yourself to drink water, switch between sipping on water and another beverage you prefer more. This is a great option if you have a less hydrating beverage like coffee or soda that you can't kick the habit of drinking. Instead of fighting yourself not to drink your favorite beverage, flip between water and your drink of choice. That way, you can replenish your liquids and enjoy yourself. You can do this by having a glass of water after you finish a glass of your other drink, or having both drinks by you while you work so you can alternate between them. Some TikTok users have already caught on to this idea and taken it a step further with 3 drink options. In a video shared by user Sophia W. Pelton, they said,
"To me, the height of luxury is drinking 3 liquids at once, like 1 for fun, 1 for hydration, and then 1 for energy."
And if that strategy helps you to up your water intake throughout the day, then it's a win. Another amazing and hydrating option is coconut water. Coconut water is exactly what it sounds like. It's the liquid found inside coconuts. It has a nutty and slightly sour flavor and is quite refreshing when enjoyed cold. Some people even claim coconut water is better for hydrating than regular water. This is because, according to Medical News Today, it's rich in potassium and magnesium and has some sodium, all of which help your body to rehydrate after losing liquids. Dietitian Maxine Smith told the Cleveland Clinic that while coconut water can be good for hydration, it's best enjoyed after a long workout. Smith said, because of the electrolytes, some studies indicate that it can help with hydration specifically related to exercise. She went on to explain that the sodium-enriched coconut water used for these studies is best reserved for drinking after a workout that lasts an hour or more. That's the time when your body will need to replenish those electrolytes found in coconut water. And as far as it being better than water, Smith claims water is still the best way to hydrate. Coconut water is a low-calorie, hydrating drink option. While you shouldn't use it in place of water, it can be a nice change in pace when you want something a little different. If you're looking for a more fun beverage, try sipping on fresh fruit juice. Fresh fruit juice typically contains about 85% water, so it will hydrate you even if it doesn't do so as fast as plain water would. Exactly how hydrating the juice is depends on the type of juice you're drinking and the other ingredients apart from the fruit juice. For the best hydration, look for drinks containing real fruit juice, not just fruit juice flavor. And opt for juice with less sugar added. Ideally, you can find fruit juice with no added sugar. You can get store-bought fruit juice from trusted brands or make your own fruit juice by squeezing oranges and other fruits yourself. This process is easiest if you own a juicer and can quickly turn fresh fruit into drinkable juice. Concentrated fruit juice will have a very strong, sweet taste, so you can mix water into the fruit juice before serving. This will increase the water content and you'll still have an excellent fruity flavor. Apart from chugging water, you can also keep your hydration levels up with the food you eat. According to the Institute of Medicine of the National Academies, the average woman should consume 11.4 cups or 2.7 liters of total water from all foods and drinks per day, while men should have 15.6 cups or 3.7 liters a day to stay hydrated. And that number will only go up based on heat, activity level, and other factors. But drinking that much can be a difficult task, particularly if you don't find yourself naturally reaching for your water bottle. Fortunately, it doesn't all have to come from drinking water. According to UCLA Health, you get about 20% of your daily water intake from food. So you can help keep yourself hydrated by picking foods with a high water content. Some of the best options for this are fruits and vegetables. As the name implies, watermelon is a great option. Some other excellent water-dense foods to enjoy are strawberries, peaches, oranges, cucumber, and lettuce. On top of being a great source of hydration, they're healthy and delicious. So you really can't go wrong here.
Soup.
Soups are a great food option that's high in liquid content, but a hot bowl of soup might not be so tempting in warmer weather. So an excellent solution is making cold soups for lunch, dinner, or as a side dish to accompany your meal. Enjoying cold soups can help keep you hydrated, and they have other health benefits. One Penn State study showed that eating soup before your meal can help you feel satiated faster and help you avoid overeating. So, adding a water-rich cold soup to your meals can be an excellent choice this summer. Another way to add to your daily water intake and general health is by drinking bone broth. Bone broth is a clear stock made from boiling down animal bones and connective tissue in water. As the bones cook down, they infuse the liquids with nutrients and flavor. Many soup and sauce recipes may call for bone broth, but you can also drink it on its own. Because the bone broth is primarily made of water, it helps hydrate you. Though exact nutrition begins on the animal bones used, it's generally a good source of magnesium, which is an essential electrolyte to keep you hydrated. Along with that, it often contains calcium, vitamins A and B, collagen, and other essential vitamins and minerals. Whether you drink it from the tap or buy the fancy flavored kind, water is the good stuff. But you can have too much of a good thing. From avoiding microplastics to making use of lemon slices, here's how to imbibe H2O like a pro. You've probably heard conflicting information about whether to drink water with meals, and if you think you shouldn't, think again. Some people worry that water might dilute digestive enzymes and acids. But a clinical nuclear medicine study found that liquids pass through the digestive system faster than solids, giving solids plenty of hang time to digest. Your body also naturally releases water during digestion to assist these enzymes, so water isn't foreign to the process.
That is so good.
Water can help dissolve larger foods and keep them moving through your system so you don't end up constipated. Some studies suggest that drinking 2 cups of water before a meal may even help you lose weight. Another study shows a 30% increase in metabolism after drinking 2 cups of water, with yet another showing an hour-long metabolism boost from drinking water. There's a rumor that warns not to drink cold water, but drinking water before meals at any temperature helps you eat less. If you drink more water when it's ice cold, adding some ice cubes might entice you to drink more. One study found that drinking cold water kept athletes from overheating and improved their performance. And another study showed that you sweat less after drinking tap water that's around 60 degrees Fahrenheit. But there are some benefits to drinking warm water rather than cold. Healthline noted that drinking water between 130 degrees and 160 degrees Fahrenheit can help you breathe better if you have nasal congestion. It can also soothe a sore throat and help you digest. Humans around the world use about 1.2 million plastic bottles every minute, according to EarthDay.org. That comes out to more than 1.7 billion every day and 630 billion per year. And only about 9% of those bottles are recycled. The rest break into microplastics that contaminate the environment over time rather than actually decomposing. Even drinking water from a plastic bottle just once a day contributes 365 plastic bottles to the problem each year. Still, ecological harm isn't the only issue at stake. A chemical additive called BPA has been a health concern in many plastic water bottles. According to Healthline, various studies have linked high BPA exposure to thyroid problems, infertility, obesity, chronic inflammation, diabetes, heart disease, cancer, and more. Luckily, the FDA claims that most people's exposure is within safe amounts. Just as concerning, though, is microplastic consumption. A study from Frontiers in Chemistry found these minuscule bits in 93% of the plastic water bottles tested around the world. Know what type of water you're chugging by snagging a BPA-free reusable bottle. Not only is it trendy, but adding lemons to your water may make it safer to drink. One study found that the combo killed the bacteria that causes cholera. The results were even better in water that was more alkaline, like hard groundwater. Findings were also more potent if the water was at least 2% lemon juice and had infused for at least 30 minutes.
Don't worry, it's just water.
Still, a study in the International Journal of Food Microbiology shows that, while lemon might reduce some bacteria, it doesn't kill the biggest baddies, like E. coli, salmonella, and listeria. Researchers found that lemon juice had the weakest effect against listeria. If you have no other way of purifying your water, infusing it with lemon juice might be better than nothing. If you've ever had too many beers and found yourself going to the bathroom over and over, it's because alcohol is a diuretic. When you're sober, the hormone vasopressin helps you retain water in your system. But alcohol suppresses the hormone, making you urinate faster than your body can process the alcohol. So you're gonna need to hydrate. Cleveland Clinic suggests drinking a glass of water after every beer, wine, or mixed drink to stay hydrated and prevent alcohol poisoning.
You ready to party or what?
When it comes to medications, you should be drinking a full glass of water, not just a couple of sips, with any medicine or supplement you take. Water gets the pill from your mouth to your stomach without getting stuck along the way. If medicines or supplements stick to the side of your esophagus or stomach, they can cause tissue damage, bleeding, or even chest pain. Water also helps to dissolve the meds so that they don't pass right through you without providing any benefits. When you're not getting enough water, your body will tell you, but you need to learn how to read the signs. Obviously, feeling thirsty is a sign, but there are other symptoms too, like feeling lightheaded or tired or having dark-colored urine. If your physical performance is suffering, your brain isn't sharp, you're feeling moody, you have a headache, or you're constipated, it could be because you're not drinking enough water. There's no definitive consensus on the amount of water you should drink in a day. The recommendation also varies based on circumstances. Harvard Medical School experts suggest that women need about 11.5 cups of water per day, while men need about 15.5 cups a day. But some of this water content comes from the food you eat or other liquids you drink. If you're getting water from other sources, 4 to 6 cups of actual water may be enough each day. Still, you'll need more if you're pregnant, breastfeeding, exercising, sweating, spending time in hot temperatures, drinking alcohol, have certain diseases, or are taking certain types of medications. Water isn't the only thing that can keep you hydrated. Many fruits and vegetables are made up of water. Melons and anything you can easily turn into juice, like oranges, contain a lot of water. Any food you add water or liquids to before cooking can also help keep you hydrated, including soups, smoothies, and breakfast cereals with milk. However, relying on food alone won't do the whole job. You still need to drink 4 to 6 cups of hydrating liquids.
The water will give you power.
Any liquids from milk to soda and even caffeinated drinks like tea and coffee contribute toward your overall hydration. Still, alcohol dehydrates rather than hydrates. Studies also show that drinking too many caffeinated liquids can affect your hydration because they are diuretics. According to a Frontiers in Nutrition study, the dehydrating effect starts kicking in at about 2.7 milligrams of caffeine per pound of body weight. That's about 4 cups of coffee. Of course, choosing liquids besides water to stay hydrated also tends to add to your overall calorie intake for the day. People who want to stay hydrated without the added calories often turn to enhancers to boost flavor, but not all water enhancers are created equally. To eliminate calories and sugar, some contain artificial sweeteners, which may carry unwanted health risks. One study indicated that drinking artificially sweetened beverages put people at a higher risk for incident metabolic syndrome and type 2 diabetes. Aspartame is definitely one to watch out for, with numerous studies linking it to everything from cancer and cardiovascular disease to migraines and strokes. A 2023 study published in the Journal of Toxicology and Environmental Health also raised concerns about sucralose, which was found to produce a chemical during digestion that damages DNA. 2 of the safer sweeteners with low glycemic indexes are stevia and monk fruit, which both come from natural sources. But choose them without erythritol, which the Cleveland Clinic found to have a connection to blood clots, heart attacks, and stroke. If you want to add natural flavoring to your water with strawberries, citrus, or cucumbers, just remember to wash them first. You never know what the produce has come into contact with in the field, during transport, at the store, and even in your kitchen. If you're adding fruit or vegetables with the peel intact, it's especially important to clean them. The FDA provides specific instructions for washing fruit and vegetables to remove bacteria, dirt, and pesticides. First, wash your hands for at least 20 seconds. Rinsing the produce before you cut or peel it will prevent transmitting germs and dirt from the outside to the inside. Simply wash the items under running water so you don't reinfect your food. Rub softer produce clean with your hands and use a vegetable brush for those with firm skin. You can remove residual bacteria by drying your items with a clean paper towel or cloth. Did you know you can drink too much water? In 2022, researchers published a study in Clinical Kidney Journal suggesting that action movie star Bruce Lee may have succumbed to water poisoning. When he died in 1973 at the age of 32, the coroner's report blamed brain swelling. But he had several risk factors for hyponatremia, an electrolyte imbalance that can be caused by too much water.
Do not, my friends, become addicted to water.
This condition can occur for a number of reasons. If your body is already having difficulty removing excess fluids, or you're losing sodium and fluids too quickly, drinking too much water can exacerbate the problem. Consuming more water than your body can handle dilutes the sodium in your blood. Your cells then react to having too little sodium by taking on extra water and swelling. According to the Mayo Clinic, symptoms of hyponatremia range from nausea and vomiting to low blood pressure and low energy. At the extreme end, you could become confused, have headaches, feel extra drowsy, fall into a coma, or even die. Ultimately, you don't want to drink more liquid than your kidneys can handle. The length of time water is safe to drink or tastes good relates to source, storage, and contaminants. Water will start to taste stale after sitting in the open air gathering carbon dioxide, and will likely taste different by the 3rd day. But if you cover it and keep it out of the sun, it will maintain its fresh flavor longer. An open bottle of water in the refrigerator will likely stay at peak freshness for 4 to 6 days.
That's definitely water.
If water is in the sun or heat too long, or if chlorine evaporates from tap water, which has a shelf life of about 6 months, it can develop bacteria, mold, algae, or worse. Water inside a plastic bottle left in the heat can develop unsafe levels of the plastic manufacturing contaminant antimony. It only takes 5 days for bottled water to reach dangerous levels at 167 degrees Fahrenheit. Expiration dates on water bottles are also important since microplastics and chemicals can seep into water over time. It's also a good idea to refrigerate any bottles you don't finish drinking to slow down the growth of bacteria that you unknowingly introduce to the container. Using a clean water glass every few days can also help cut down on bacteria. When you go hard in the heat, it's essential to stay hydrated. Unfortunately, most of us don't know how much water we really need. Before starting an outdoor project or any sort of outdoor exercise, it's a good idea to pre-hydrate by drinking 1.5 to 2.5 cups of water 2 hours before you go outside. Then make sure you drink a half cup or full cup every 15 to 20 minutes while working. If you're out for only a short time, plain, undistilled water is fine since it contains small amounts of electrolytes.
You're dehydrated. And you're dehydrated. And oh my God, you're practically a mummy.
If you're going to be active for longer than an hour and a half, or if you tend to sweat a lot, bring a drink with added electrolytes like Gatorade or eat food with added salts. When you replenish the electrolytes you lose while exercising, you'll get an energy and performance boost. It can also help prevent heat stroke by helping your body stay cool. You can even make your own sports drink at home with ingredients like salt, citrus juice, and coconut water. While water and drinks with electrolytes can help keep you hydrated in the heat, avoid common tipples that dehydrate you, like alcohol or caffeinated beverages like sodas, tea, or coffee. We all live for a summer barbecue, and you can do it up right with extra electrolytes on hand to keep the party going all day long.